All right, moving back to the Premier League. It's a very big weekend, a huge fixture. Manchester United versus Arsenal. That's the Lagos, Nigeria derby. Right. Every family has one or the other, if not both. Everybody has taken this. As a neutral, this is one of my favorite games, and this has been the case since we were kids. Yo, what's up? It's a Friday show, and it's my favorite episode of Sangalooo. It's the most optimistic episode of Sangalooo. No points dropped yet. Everybody talking loud.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's talking loud, but besides Manchester United, because it feels like it seems the season has started in shambles for us. We've dropped points against Tottenham, which was unexpected. And yeah, we're scrambling now. It's transfer deadline day and we're scrambling.
Deadline day, things are going crazy around Europe. We know what deadline days have been like before.
Yep.
We can remember how they may get parked outside another club.
Yeah.
You see people on flights at the tarmac waiting, thinking they are one club, then taking off to another place. So deadline day is crazy, and we promise to keep you informed on everything that happens on the transfers. Keep an eye on our social media pages. The news is there. Yep. But there's something I want to get to, and for me, yesterday was one of the darkest days of the football season. It was a day I have dreaded it's coming for a while. Because it was a day that I found so much joy in, and I love to terrorize my opponents, being a part of the UCL draw. But the draw happened yesterday, and yeah, we weren't there.
You know how that thing is where, it's prize giving day at the end of the term or at the end of the session, and they're calling out all your friends that you actually used to play rough play with.
Bro. Everybody is going up.
Everybody's collecting prizes and you're here, you're just sitting, you're just looking. Yeah, that's how Liverpool fans must have felt. But yeah, it looks interesting. We had very big revelations, right? Manchester United and Bayern Munich in the same group.
So let me just give the, so I guess on the screen, some of the groups can come up on the screen, but there are a few groups that we should touch on. I guess we can cherry pick it. So Group A is an exciting group for a lot of our Sangalooo fans, I would assume. A big group for Tele here. Yeah, and that's Manchester United's group. They have Bayern Munich in that group, Copenhagen and Galatasaray.
Yep.
That's a pretty good group. I think we should list out the groups and then we'll touch on what groups we think are hard and what's exciting. But the biggest group in here is Group F, and Group F stands for something very vulgar. I won't say that word because I don't know if it says so. But Group Fire, but y'all know the effort really. Group F has PSG, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and new boys who will be very happy to be here, Newcastle. That's a very crazy group. Group F, we'll touch on that as we go on. We're going to look at the other Premier League teams in the draw, and Arsenal, they're back in the Champions League with a Europa League group. They should be very excited by this. It's literally a Europa League group, and to make it even more Europa League group, they have the Europa League gods in that group. So Arsenal are in Group B with Sevilla, PSV, and Lens. Sevilla and PSV could be tricky away games if their fans get behind them and all that, but you would suspect Arsenal go through in that group.
PSV beat Arsenal last season in the Europa League group stage.
There you have it. And then Group G, Manchester City's group. I don't know how City keep doing it, but it seems like they play RB Leipzig every single year in the Champions League.
And it's funny how I think this is the easiest group of all. RB Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys.
City got it probably is the easiest group of the lot. Because then you look at the other big teams like Real Madrid being in the second pot team, and they have Napoli in their group, Braga and Union Berlin. Union Berlin had a pretty good season in Bundesliga last year. Inter have a decent group. They have Benfica, Inter in the same group, Salzburg in that group as well. You know the Red Bull teams. You never really know what you're going to get from them. They are really cause upsets. Barcelona are back in the Champions League after a season out. Champions of Spain, a decent group. They've got Porto in that group, Antwerp and Shakhtar Donetsk. So yeah, let's just, I think that group of death, how do you think Newcastle fare in that group?
For me, it's interesting because I feel like the novelty of the experience for both Newcastle players and even their opponents will come to play when Newcastle fixtures come up, right? The players, especially last season, we saw how they rose to the occasion of them being one of the big teams in the Premier League, and we saw how they took that seriously, and they ended up finishing fourth, right? They qualified for this Champions League. I feel like them coming into the Champions League, every home game Newcastle will play
St. James's Park is going to be. We saw it was just last weekend.
It will be massive for them, right? You would see support. Home support will be about 80% to away support about 10 or 20.
And I saw a video, the away end in Newcastle, before you climb those stairs, like those Parisians are sacre bleu.
So those are the kinds of things that will come into play for Newcastle. I just hope that they don't get blinded by the lights.
By the lights,
right?
yeah,
because
that
the
could
lights
happen.
are going to be very bright. Champions League nights, definitely.
So yeah, I agree, this is definitely the hardest group, like I said, Group F. But I feel like this group looks harder on paper. If you think about it, PSG, they've lost a lot of their best players I thought would hurt you. It's a new look PSG. Mbappe is back in the fold, but they're not as star-studded as they have been in recent years. That might make them a better team, we don't know, but they're not. So they're just worried about. Dortmund have lost their best player in Jude Bellingham, and this season they started off all right, but it's not the Dortmund that we would have known over the last 10 years. And then you've got AC Milan, who they didn't really do that well in their league. They have good players, but I feel like if Newcastle are able to, if they're able to defend themselves well at home and do a good showing of themselves, they can still a win against one of these sides at St. James's Park, maybe two. And if they can, I don't know, they have one of the best defenses in the Premier League last season.
So this is the reason why we consider this group to be the group of death. It's because it is difficult to separate.
It definitely is.
Right? They're not teams that
I think
you
even
say
separate from
separate from themselves,
yes,
right?
From themselves, and if you arrange the best teams in Europe, they are
in and around,
the topper end. They're from middle to up or the best teams in Europe.
Exactly.
So it's the hardest group.
Exactly. So it's not as if you pick one team and say this one is a world beater and this one is another world beater. It is just that fact that you can't really separate the four of them from each other because of the seasons they've had.
If you had to call it, how would you call it though?
I honestly cannot. I
It's
promise
tough.
you, because I tried. I actually did try, but the only thing I can call is a winner from the group, and I think AC Milan might win this group. It's interesting that I think AC Milan will win the group, but AC Milan did good last season. They seem to be the most stable of all four. They've not had too many changes from last season coming into this season.
Leao.
Newcastle have not really started the season well, even though we can say they faced two of the toughest sides in the Premier League. The reason why they've not started well. But, there's still that. So I think AC Milan might be that team that will win the
Yeah, this is actually a crazy group because if you said any of the other teams, I would have said, yeah, fair enough.
Exactly.
And it's like, if Dortmund want to grab it, if Paris want to do it, they can do it. So yes, so how do you think, let's get to Manchester United really quickly.
Yeah.
How do you think Manchester United are going to play? Let's get Manchester United and then move on to Arsenal.
Okay, for me, I think Manchester United, personally as a fan, I would expect that Manchester United just quickly drop out of the Champions League and then go into Europa League.
Come on, man.
And then battle. No, it's the truth.
We can come second in this group.
Honestly,
now.
I promise you, I know we can. But as a fan and as objective as I want to be, right, I think that that's the best position that Manchester United can be in. Instead of going to the round of 16.
I think don't go to this place. Don't go to Europa. Europa is a waste of time. Just go to Champions League, leave the group and then get knocked out. Then have no European games and play once a week. Because that Europa on Thursday compared to the weekend is not great. So yeah, I guess we already did kind of touch on Arsenal. They've got Sevilla in their group. Could be tricky. We expect them to come out of their group. But yeah, we'll move on from Arsenal and the UCL draw. All right, moving back to the Premier League. It's a very big weekend, a huge fixture. Manchester United versus Arsenal. That's the Lagos, Nigeria derby.
Right.
Every family has one or the other, if not both. Everybody has stake in this. As a neutral, this is one of my favorite games, and this has been the case since we were kids. Manchester United versus Arsenal. How do you feel about this game?
I mean, last season both teams served up interesting results, interesting games, actually interesting matches, right? Manchester United won the first leg, lost the away leg, good
Rashford, great goal, Saka, great goal. Exactly, been great.
Exactly. So I'm expecting them to serve up another spectacular game this weekend. A very good time to play actually in the evening, 4:30 p.m. on Sunday.
Super Sunday, baby.
It is big. But personally, I think the way Manchester United have started on a shaky footing so far, I wouldn't say Man U will go to Emirates and win. Arsenal themselves have not covered themselves in glory in the first 3 games of the season, so I wouldn't say they will out and out just win it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe a draw, but goals from both sides because it looks like both of them are leaking goals at the moment. So I hope Arteta tinkers again, as he has done in the first 2 games of the season. I think he does his overwise and overthinking thing, and then maybe Manchester United might be able to snatch either a point or the win.
Yeah, if I had to put my mind, I think I would say that's going to be a draw. I think there will be goals. So yeah, around a 2-2 sounds about right. I can see maybe there being a penalty, the fact that the referees are acting anyhow, a game as fiery as this. You saw the Liverpool game, Liverpool Newcastle. When they're big games, things are happening. All sorts are happening. So yeah, I think we're going to see goals. I think it's going to be exciting, and that's definitely the biggest game on the weekend. But there's another big game this weekend, and that's Saturday's 5:30 kickoff. This is a game that won't typically have been a big game. If I told you about this fixture 3-4 years ago, you're not watching it. That's when you find things to do your time. These are two teams that are playing in Europe this season, and that's Newcastle versus Brighton. We are the Amex. Like, it's a big game.
It's interesting, and it's the new look Premier League, right? It's a new look Premier League. Brighton, who's at home?
Brighton.
Brighton is at home. At the Amex, I would expect Brighton to win that because it looks like Newcastle this season are faltering in the big games.
But do you think Newcastle, after losing those two games, like surely now they're going away to Brighton, they're going to defend, like their luck has to turn. I feel like it has to go both ways. Brighton are not going to keep winning forever, and Newcastle can't keep losing.
It's the manner in which Newcastle have lost those two games, right? Against Liverpool, they could have won it.
They bottled it.
They bottled it. Against Manchester City as well, they really shouldn't have, maybe a draw or something. But, I mean, it's Man City at the end of the day. But Brighton themselves lost their last game. So you would think they will want to bounce back in this game, and they're playing at home.
So it's a very tricky game. It's hard to call. You should watch that game. I'm definitely going to watch that game. And it should be a good game. A lot of good players on display there. And then moving on to the other game on Sunday, or one of the other games on Sunday, and that's Liverpool versus Aston Villa. At home, Anfield, after the result against Newcastle, you'd expect Liverpool to be up to challenge, but Aston Villa, like I just mentioned, the way we look at teams
are moving.
Yeah, the league has changed. Everything you thought you knew about teams are not that throw out the window. This is not the Aston Villa you grew up on.
Honestly.
So they're coming to, Unai Emery is coming to Anfield. He wants a result. He has a lot of very good players, and if Liverpool sleep around, they could face the challenge that they faced at Newcastle. It should be an exciting game, that one as well. I would watch it too.
Of course, and it's sort of, the way he plays sort of reminds you of that Leicester City side that won the Champions League with the way they used their fullbacks, right? Martinez scored 2 goals last time out. And how did he score those 2 goals? He was in the box at unexpected in unexpected moments. So that's the kind of thing that's kind of a challenge that Liverpool have to sort out. Van Dijk is not going to play. The 3-match ban for getting a straight red.
There's no thing. So it's a 1-match ban because it wasn't violent conduct, but because he was insulting the referee, it's being investigated.
It's being investigated.
Could be more than a 1-match.
More than a 1-match.
But for sure, no Van Dijk, and you know what
that's going to be dicey for Liverpool.
You know what I mean?
Their midfield solid. I mean, good, but not solid, right?
Liverpool hoping the new signing.
Comes
in time and can possibly fill in that role. I've got some news that, I didn't get the news. Everybody saw it. I'm not excited, but Konate is in the France squad, so for the international break. So we assume that his injury is not that bad. So if we're losing Van Dijk for some time, it might not be as bad as. You know, you guys, I came here and I was having a mental breakdown, but it's calm. It might not be as bad as I once thought.
But Liverpool, Aston Villa would actually be a very good, and I think Aston Villa would actually do very well this season. I think they will qualify to Europe this season. That's something. That's
definitely what they should have. A target they should have this season. And let's see if they can pull it off. I know Europe is a lot wider now. There could be 5 teams in the Champions League.
Yes. Considering the new competition,
so Villa should definitely be playing European football next season with the money they spend, the quality of the manager they have, and the squad. And there you have it. There's the Friday episode. Those are our predictions. What we think is happening in the UCL. What we think is happening in the big games this weekend. And you know the P, you guys should do the same as well. Let us know in the comment section. And then when you're done with that, scroll back up, like, subscribe, click the little share arrow, share with your friends and family, and be here on Monday.